Hey y'all, Olivia Hermosa from TikTok. If you like those true crimes and verified stories, make sure you smash that like and subscribe button to Petty Tupac TV.
Defendant appeals his right of jury convictions of second-degree murder, MCL 75317, armed robbery, and first-degree home invasion. The trial court sentenced the defendant as a fourth habitual offender to concurrent terms of 960 months to 1,500 months imprisonment for the second degree, 320 to 700 months imprisonment for armed robbery, and 320 to 700 months imprisonment for first-degree home invasion. We affirm. Basic facts and procedural history. Around 3 a.m. on April 13, 2016, defendant Taekwon Riley, Charity Mosley, and Christopher Jones traveled in a burgundy sport utility vehicle to the house of Benjamin Clemens, who was allegedly known as a drug dealer. After arriving to the house, defendant and Riley exited the SUV and went up to the house back steps way. Defendant and Riley had each put on plastic face masks, and they proceeded to break into Clemens' home through the back door. Once inside, defendant and Riley searched for drugs and money. According to Riley, an altercation ensued between Clemens and defendant, which led to the defendant shooting Clemens. Subsequently, Clemens died. Riley and defendant then returned to the SUV. When back in the car, Riley held up a bag of cocaine and said didn't even get a lot of loot from him. Riley had also taken $100 from the house, of which he gave defendant $40 and Jones $20, keeping the remainder for himself. While these events transpired, Clemens' girlfriend, who had escaped to the home's lower apartment before Riley and defendant entered the house, and called the police. As a result, the SUV was almost immediately pulled over by police. Both Riley and defendant, who were sitting in the back passenger seats, got out and fled on foot. Riley was apprehended the same night. A gun and a face mask were recovered along the path upon which Riley fled. Defendant was not apprehended at this time, although Mosley identified defendant in the photograph for the police. The police eventually learned that the defendant was in jail on unrelated charges. DNA on a face mask found in the SUV's back passenger seat matched defendant's DNA. In connection with these events, defendant was charged with open murder, felony murder, armed robbery, first-degree home invasion, felony in possession of a firearm, carrying a concealed weapon, and felony firearm. Before trial, defendant moved to suppress a statement he had given on the grounds that defendant was coerced into providing a confession. The trial conducted a Walker's hearing. According to Detective Shanlian, after defendant's arrest, detectives discovered a murder for hire plot in which defendant had made phone calls to Alicia Hawkins, allegedly defendant's girlfriend, and George Pouncey to get rid of the witness. On February 15, 2007, Hawkins went to the jail to visit defendant, and she was arrested. Detective Shanlian, his name's crazy, testified that the next day defendant was questioned and was told that both Hawkins and Pouncey were in custody and had made statements. Detective Shanlian testified that when defendant stated that he did not want to talk, he did not pursue any questioning and promptly left the room. Defendant did not ask for an attorney at the time. 15 minutes later, defendant decided he wanted to speak with the detective. Detective Shanlian then returned with the recorder and read defendant his Miranda rights, and defendant made a statement. Detective Shanlian further testified the defendant also requested that he be able to speak with Hawkins so that he could make her tell the truth because he got her into this mess. Detective Shanlian told defendant that he would be able to speak with Hawkins and permitted defendant to see Hawkins after the interview. The detective denied making any threats to the defendant. Contrary to the detective's testimony, defendant testified that he had been in the hole for nearly 24 hours before Detective Shanlian brought him in for questioning, and that he had not been able to bath or eat before the meeting. When defendant indicated that he had not didn't want to answer any questions, the detective, according to the defendant, showed defendant a photo of Hawkins and threatened defendant by telling him that both he and Hawkins would get life sentences. Detective Shanlian then allegedly indicated that defendant would have to go back to the hole because he was not cooperating. Detective Shanlian also allegedly told defendant that he was less than a man for not making a statement to get Hawkins out of trouble. Defendant testified that he became very emotional because Hawkins was basically all I got because he did not want to go back to the hole. and because he told Hawkins would be released. After the Walker hearing, the trial denied defendant's motion to suppress, reasoning that under the totality of the circumstances, the defendant did not give a statement under duress, coercion, or undue influence. The matter proceeded to trial. During the jury selection, the trial referred to the prospective jurors by number. Once the trial seated the 14 jurors, which included 2 alternates, it continued to refer to the jurors by numbers. Then, before opening statements, the court disclosed defendant's underlying felony charge for the charge of felony in possession when improvided. Man. At the sentences, the trial noted that the history of the case, the fact the defendant was on parole during the commission of the crimes and the defendant was a fourth habitual. The trial court also referenced defendant's lack of remorse. The court then sentenced the defendant to concurrent terms on each count. Upon preparation for appeal, appellate counsel discovered a 31-minute gap during the May 2nd, 2007 proceedings when the cross-examination prosecution witness Valerie Bowman, a forensic scientist, was not transcribed. Appellate counsel also found that the digital recording stopped for the remainder of the May 3rd, 2007 proceeding, which Charity Mosley was testifying. This appeal followed. Wow. I'm going to tell you what he argues before I get up out of here. Defendant first argues that his statement was not voluntarily given in the trial court area by denying his motion to suppress. We disagree. He ain't getting back on that. I'm sorry. What up, though? You already know how I go. Make sure you smash like, subscribe, comment. Don't care what you comment, as long as you comment, you did. Y'all see the little story I just did? Bro got 81 years of his life. 81 years for basically $450. They split up $100, and then from the person that sent me the story and told me, they only got a ball of C. That's 3.5 grams. Probably gonna make $350 off of it. I mean, you robbing people, you probably ain't even got the patience to even sit on that to get rid of it. You might sell it for $150, but let's just say $450 at 81 years. That's like $5.60 a year. The rest of your life gone. From age 24 to 105. That's what he got to live to, 105. And it's not impossible, but I don't think he got too many years after 105. I ain't gonna lie to you. He might got a few months left on his earth. I'll say all that to say this. Before you go rob somebody, don't think, that's how a lot of guys, to catch the felony murders, they rob. They wake up like it ain't nothing. We about to go hit a lick, skate off. If we do get caught, it's just an armed robbery. Until that day somebody don't give up their stuff. To that day, somebody fight back. And to that day where your man's high out his mind and he blow him. That day, pause. To that day, high out his mind and he feeling like proving a point to y'all and want to be hard and gangster. He want to catch him one for the summer. When dude don't give up his stuff, then he hit him. Now you turned the armed robbery to a felony homicide. And then the thing about it, this is one of the dumbest cases ever to take to trial. One of your both the codees told. Mask on DNA on the mask. Right. Then he told on himself. And for some odd reason, it's not odd. I know what he was thinking. Like a lot of us that took pleas, or a lot of men that I've seen make statements. They like, damn. Wait, I'm gonna finagle my way up out of this. I'm gonna try to talk to this officer to get up out of here, get up out of jail. Gotta talk to him, see what he know, tell him a little info, or whatever the case may be. Or he might have really felt like he was trying to get his girl out of the situation, so she wouldn't be in the situation. Whatever it was. Then when it's time to go to trial, they say, well, or it's time to, your court process, and they say, well, we'll offer you 35 years. And he got to thinking like, damn, this little 5, 6, 10 months this year I've been fighting, I got to do this 36 more years? He like, oh, no, they forced me into a court. I'm not saying that they didn't. That's very possible that could happen. They do it. But it's a lot stacked up against you. None of the stories was conflicting when people told. You got pulled over almost immediately after. if he never made that statement, if it's Cody's didn't tell, who knew where the case would have went? But they did. When you going up, when you got a court process going on for a serious crime, and you got co-defendants, they offer, hey, I'll give you 15, get you 25, and we're gonna get him 40. Or y'all could all go to trial, get life without parole, or y'all could go and get about 35, 40 piece biscuit. You know what I'm saying? Or you could tell on somebody. What you think they're gonna do? Most of the gangsters I know that have been down for a long time, they wish they would have told, and they wish they would have never went to trial. Think about what you do before you do it. You dig what I'm talking about? Peace and blessings be upon you.